AJ blog, Star Goddess on Mondays with a weekly overview here for the 8th of July, 2019. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hey.
All right, Janet.
Yeah, we got Mercury, the planet of communication, stopped its forward motion last night and is going backwards for the next 21 days or so. And this it's a natural phenomenon. It occurs 3 times a year, and it goes retrograde for 21 days, goes backwards. And wherever it is in your chart tells you where you're going to have difficulty with communication, misunderstandings, things bound to be done over again and bound to be repeated. And the thing that makes this one so challenging is that it is joining the planet Mars in Leo. So they're not going to be small issues. They're going to be big things that end up really empowering you or firing you up, one or the other. It's the type of thing where it's not just going to be a little slight thing. Whatever it is that irritates you is going to irritate the snot out of you. It's
now,
that kind of a thing.
We had one that was not too long ago. Back in April?
We did.
I want to say?
Yeah, actually in March, I think, is when Mercury was retrograde.
That's right. Yeah, like March to April-ish.
Yeah.
Now, it affected, I know I'm Taurus.
Right.
That affected me last time. This one affects me as well. Like, does that happen all the time? Is it always the same signs?
No, it retrogrades in either there are four different elements in astrology: air, earth, fire, and water.
Yeah.
And it will retrograde in one of those elements. Last year it was in the water elements. This year it's in the fire elements. It's in the sign of Leo. So it's going to have its greatest impact deleteriously for the Tauruses, the Leos, the Scorpios, and the Aquarians of the zodiac. They have the hardest time with this energy because those signs, they're fixed, meaning don't confuse them with the facts their minds are made up. So they don't do well with change.
Okay.
And the retrograde always means some sort of change, some sort of misunderstanding. And none of those signs are known for backing down.
Right.
So that you can see where the challenge comes from that they're not going to back down and they may not be right about what they're, making that stand on. That's what makes it such a challenge. So I thought, and it's a very general statement.
Yeah.
But specifically, it's going to impact us in whatever affair of life that sign is in. So for Cancers, for example, the sign that we're in, this Mercury is retrograding in their second house of money. So it tells me that, number one, with Mars in there, they're going to have unanticipated financial expenditures, which always piss people off. I'm never happy when I have to throw a bunch of money into a car.
Right.
So you have Mercury, the planet of communication, going retrograde, and Mars in there. So you're spending a bunch of money and not likely to get it fixed right the first time.
Oh, boy.
Which is really going to irritate people. And it gives you the idea that maybe I can cheap out and do it like halfway, and it ends up costing you way more down the road to try and fix what you could have done cheaply and easily the first time if you just went ahead and did it.
No cutting
you
any
end up
corners,
spending
just
more
get it
money
fixed.
down
All right,
the
yeah.
road to do it. And the guys that are going to hate that the most are the Cancers because it's in their earned income. This is not other people's money. This is their own money. They stand there, turn their pockets inside out and go, I had some money here yesterday. I just don't know. And it's not the kind of thing where you go, oh, I'm going to buy myself a diamond necklace. It's something that you have to do.
Not fun money.
Not fun. No, it's not a fun thing. It's not like, oh, I'm going to take a great vacation or go out and have a fabulous. No, it's something that you have to do, like
Plumbing.
Yeah, like your air conditioning breaks, that kind of thing.
Joey
where you go,
Chestnuts right now.
Yeah. So it's just, and that goes to the 31st of the month. So it's quite a long time to be irritated about financial stuff.
Is there any time during that time period that's more intense than others in the 21 days?
Yeah, next week we'll talk about that because that's
Okay.
a full moon and an eclipse,
Oh, good
which
Lord.
brings I know, just adds to the fun.
Yay.
For Leos, though, this energy, Mercury is retrograding in their sign and Mars is in their sign, so it's a dual thing where Leos are trying very hard to assert themselves, assert their ego, assert their dominance. They've kind of been hanging back the last 2 years or so, finishing up stuff. All of that is done now, and the Leo is going to go, what about me? I want to promote my interests, what it is that I want to do with who I want to do it with. And they're likely to run into some people who are going to go, oh, yeah, no. And that will be the challenge.
Gotcha.
Because depends on what kind of a relationship you're in, whether that person has the right to tell you what to do. And if they do, it'll still be a fight.
Right.
But if they don't, it's going to be a much bigger fight because the Leo's going to get their dander up and go, no one tells me what to do.
Oh, boy, this is making way too much sense right now, Janet. Making way too much sense.
So you just have to be careful with that. And that's the type of thing where I don't even send text because there's no inflection with text. You can't really determine what somebody is saying.
This is a real
really
important
careful.
time for face-to-face communications.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I always bring my phone with me and I record whatever it is that's going on so I have a clear understanding of what was said. But it's really about the ego, the Leo asserting their rights within the relationship.
All right.
Which is a cool thing.
Noted.
For Virgos, it's a good time just to shut up and not get into a fight that you're not invited to attend.
Mind your own business.
Yeah, Virgos run from like the 22nd of August to the 23rd of September, and we butt our noses in where they do not belong.
Gotcha.
And because we think we're right, we have the right to do that, and they're going to find out that other people do not want to hear what they have to say.
Yeah.
So to Virgos everywhere, I say, rather than getting involved, make sure you're invited to be involved. Don't
Good.
just put yourself in between two warring groups and not expect to get stuff thrown on you.
And once you're invited, there's still no guarantees on that, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's still going to be a challenge. You're going to lose. The Virgo's going to end up losing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the challenge with that energy. And they are likely to shoot themselves in the foot. So it's the type of thing where Virgos will do very well just to go away and not talk to anybody for about 3 weeks or so.
Just watch, Virgos.
Yeah,
Just watch.
this way it won't come back to, because they're going to be misunderstood.
Okay.
And their intention might be, I want to make you better, but I've never had anybody that's real receptive to that. Because what it de facto says is you're not okay the way you are, and no one's receptive to that.
Exactly.
Right.
There's no
And
good
Virgo's
way
like, what did I say? It's like, you just cut my heart out. So they have to be really careful with that, not to be misunderstood.
All right.
Yeah.
Which would be the big challenge. For Libras, this is great energy for them. They don't really care. Even though Mercury is retrograde, usually what that means for them with Mars in their 11th is they're trying to get the group to help the Libra get the Libra what the Libra wants. And the Libra's sort of like talking the group into doing the Libra's bidding. And it's like, oh, yeah, this is good for everybody, but it's particularly good for the Libra.
Gotcha.
Which is the cool thing with that. So, and also sometimes younger people from your past come back to see if you're still mad. That's a fun thing to do during the retrograde because Mercury's retrograde. And I always read Mercury as younger people.
Yeah.
So it's younger people saying, are you still mad about that? And I usually am still mad. I don't get over stuff that quick. So, but
Me
Libras probably
neither.
do. For Scorpios, this energy is in their 10th house of career and public standing. And this is one of the signs that's going to have trouble with this because Scorpio has to be careful not to take everything personally and don't take professional things personally. It's the kind of thing where, here, let me give you some constructive criticism, and all the Scorpio hears is the criticism. Nothing constructive about it.
Right.
So you have
You're
to be
picking on me.
Yes, and I don't deserve it is what the Scorpio is going to say, although they do. And so that's the real challenge when it's a professional thing. Because you can't really tell that to the boss.
And if you're hearing this right now, then maybe you'll get ready for that. And you'll know to maybe try to listen for a little bit more construction.
Right.
There's something good can come out of it. They just have to not get personally offended by it.
Good.
And because they have a real scorched earth policy. Scorpio, out of all the signs, they're the ones I try not to piss off. Because they will get you in this lifetime and the one after that and the one after that because they can wait.
Wow.
You got to be careful with them. So they're going to have a challenge with this energy professionally. For Sagittarians, all it does is it gives you a little bit of trouble with your vacation plans. That's the kind of thing where you take your bags with you, and then if they bump you, you get a free ticket to go to someplace else.
Some minor stuff going on there.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. It's not very bad at all for Sagittarians. They really do very well with this energy, and something slides by that works to the Sagittarians' advantage. It actually ends up with something, and it's more of something that doesn't get done, works to suit the Sagittarians' needs. They benefit from other people's resources. Legal matters go very well for Sagittarians. Educational matters go well. Contracts, negotiations, any kind of agreements, because your rising sign is Sag.
Yeah.
Goes very, very well with that.
All right.
It's really very good energy for Sagittarians. For Capricorns, not so much. This energy is going to end up costing them a bundle because it's in their 8th house of other people's resources. That's the kind of thing where you're married to a guy and he buys something and doesn't tell you about it, or writes a check and doesn't tell you about it, and then all your checks bounce after that. It ends up being the initial thing was not very big, but all the penalties that go along with it get really big.
Oh, geez.
So it's a real challenge for them in their partnerships, and it has to do with the resources that they share with other people.
So business relationships.
Yeah. And it's very financial in nature. It really is financial in nature. And again, this is not earned income. This is other people's resources. If you're in some sort of deal with somebody else, there's going to be confusion with that.
If you're paying the same bill with somebody else.
Yeah, you want to make sure that it's your bill that you're paying, that they're not padding it or adding somebody else's stuff to that as well.
Maybe you live together, you're paying some expenses, stuff like that.
Yeah, you want to make sure that it's the real deal. Yeah. That everybody's on the same page as to who's entitled to what, to spend what money. Because it's not your own income, it's the joint held resources.
Gotcha.
For Aquarians, this is very challenging energy for them because when Mars is opposing your sign, everybody's yelling at you. Everybody's pointing a finger going, you. And there's no real defense for that. And with Mercury being retrograde, the more you try to defend yourself, the bigger the hole you dig for yourself. It's that kind of a thing. So out of all the signs, I think they struggle the worst with it because their partners have the upper hand. They don't want to admit it. They don't want to think that the partner has the upper hand, but the partner really does. And so they have to be really careful, and they need to hear what their partner is actually saying, because they are going to be so busy defending themselves, they're not going to hear the kernel of truth that is actually in the argument.
Yeah, when you're thinking of a defense, you're not really listening to what's going
whatever
on.
it is that they're saying.
Yeah.
And the act of trying to defend yourself complicates it. It's almost like you admit to something even stupider.
And you're not listening when you're defending yourself.
No.
You're defending yourself.
You need to look at your partner and go, you're right, I'm sorry, because it takes the wind out of everybody's sails the minute you do that. People have to stop yelling at you, because what they really want to hear you say is, okay, all right, you're right. Yeah, it's like, yeah.
Keep track of the conversation. At the end, if you need to defend yourself at the end of the conversation,
Don't even try. Just go, you're right, I'll take any punishment you want.
All right.
The best way to deal with that. For Pisces, this energy is in the 6th house of work, health, and responsibilities. And Pisces are trying to get something going. They're trying to start something. They're trying to find a place to put their passion. They're trying out a couple of different things. And this is good energy for them to see whether or not it's a good fit for them.
Okay.
So I don't expect them to make any kind of serious long-term decisions, but I know that they're very, very receptive to trying new stuff. And they want to be able to find a way to take something that is a passion of theirs and maybe turn it into a vocation, be able to do it a lot longer. I know your son is young.
Yeah.
But you want him to find something that he can be passionate about, that he can really enjoy doing, and then make himself feel good about doing it later on.
What is the month period on that again?
For Pisces, it runs from February 19th to March 20th.
Okay.
Is when they are.
Gotcha.
And so for them, it's a good time for them to create something new in their life that they can hang their ego on.
Okay.
And eventually make money doing it, which would be a fun thing.
That's awesome.
You know, you hear kids,
Musical instrument, maybe? Or?
Yeah,
Exactly,
musical instrument.
yeah,
Even,
musical sports,
You know what, even playing
whatever.
video games. People, you're playing video games. It's like colleges are giving scholarships now for esports.
Hard to believe, but
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
I know, but Fortnite had millions of followers. You know, that thing sold out. So there's something to be said about finding your passion and finding it and following it. For Aries, this energy is in the 5th house. I want to have as much fun as I possibly can. And if your rising sign is Aries or your sun sign is Aries, it's a great time for you just to have fun. You're like Sheryl Crow all month. They want to have a good time. If they're single, they'll attract somebody. If they're in a partnership, they find their passion is re-stimulated.
Oh.
It's a good time for loving. The hot summer nights, that's what that's all about.
Were you normally hesitant about having a good time? Just kind of
now
get
just
loose?
let it go. And just check IDs, because Mercury Retrograde says they're going to lie to you about their age. So
Oh, boy.
just be careful about that,
Interesting.
because you can go to jail for that jazz.
Oh, yeah.
So, but it's a very creative, very fun time for Aries.
Okay.
Which I think that they're really looking forward to, because they've been sort of sulking at home for the last 3 weeks or so, and it's time to come back out and play.
Nice.
So
For
Mercury
Taurus,
doesn't-
as you say, what is going on there?
Yeah.
They are trying to do something at home. They're trying to. Their home is under question for them.
Yes.
They're trying. I know, she's so funny as I'm looking
You
at something.
don't
And I know
say.
exactly what she's going on. I will talk directly to you. They want to make some sort of change at home.
Yeah.
They're not sure exactly what that change should be. And so they're looking around over the next 3 weeks to explore their options as to which will be the right decision for them, but they won't have a decision until the middle of August. They won't know exactly the right thing to do. So what they want to do is the next 3 or 4 weeks or so, they want to see everything. They want to see stuff that can make where they're living better. They want to look at changing where they are living as well. But at the end of the day, what they really trying to do is make sure their home is a solid foundation, a base of operations for them to operate out of. They've been in one place for like 2 years, and they're not sure if they're going to stay or if they're going to go.
Right.
And so the purpose of the next 3 weeks is to make it really clear what you don't want.
Okay.
Because once you know what you don't want, it's pretty easy to figure out what it is you do want.
Janet, you couldn't hit the nail harder on the head on that one, because that's where I'm at right now. I'm trying to figure out, okay, do I want to go ahead and just re-sign my lease and just stay here for a minute?
Yeah.
Or I've been really exploring looking at purchasing a house.
And you don't have the answers yet.
No.
So that's what I'm saying is you want to give yourself that time.
Okay.
And say, if I'm not going to have an answer by the 31st, there's no reason to put pressure on me. I must decide.
Wow.
Because it hasn't been revealed yet.
Well, for me, in my situation anyway, mine ends at the beginning of September, so
Right.
I have to
Right, you
have
will,
an
but you
answer
will.
by
But
then.
again,
But
by the
buying a
end of-
house though takes a little bit longer, so
A
it's
little bit
been
longer.
like,
Right.
Okay.
But
All
again,
right.
you want to wait. You don't want to make a wrong decision.
No.
And you don't want to force yourself to make a decision before it's time.
Okay.
And so to give yourself that 3 weeks to look around and see what the universe, pops up for you.
Okay.
And then between the 1st of August and the 15th of August is when you'll have the decision and know what to do.
Are there any people, any other signs that would help out, like in a case like AJ's right there, where she's like looking for a place? Is there any other signs that that would assist her that you think of off the bat?
No, because it's entirely up to what meets the Taurus's wants and needs. But I would put more than one person to work on it.
Okay.
Not like you're marrying a realtor. Put 3 or 4 to work, and whoever comes up with the deal. Because realtors end up farming an area. Yeah. They farm a location, and they want to sell you their listing, because then they get the full commission. If they have to show you somebody else's listing, they get to split it. So I'll always have it's not like you're marrying them.
Right.
You know, put a couple to work for you. Whoever comes up with the best deal gets your business, because 7% of, $200,000, $300,000 is a big chunk of change.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so that's what I would do.
Okay.
And cast your bet upon the waters, because you're not going to have an answer before the 1st of August.
Huh.
So be receptive and see what pops up.
Well, I was hoping, because there's a couple places I'm interested in, and you were saying earlier with the Mercury
good time to put in a lowball
this is actually a good time to lowball somebody.
You bet.
So
the best time to do that is actually this coming weekend for you, the 12th, 13th,
Really?
14th. Yeah, because the moon's in the sign of Sagittarius. Whenever I want to sell something, I always try and list it or put the listing agreement in, or I try and do it during the moon in Sagittarius. It's the sign of the quick sale.
Okay.
So I would start with a lowball offer.
Yeah.
I would probably do that lowball offer during the moon in Sag. It gets them off whatever their high price is.
I want to hit some garage sales.
And after it goes direct is when you can go ahead and make a no kidding offer. Okay. And it's gotten them off their big high dollar thing and down to the much more realistic realm.
Okay.
So
All
it's
right.
that's because you can't just stick your head in the sand for 3 weeks. I got to do something.
Right.
So that's a cool thing to do with it.
I've been trying to get my buddy's golf clubs.
Are you just
for a while?
Just
right
steal
now,
them.
I think
Just
now,
take them. Put them in your car.
Make the offer
so
right
let's
now.
Go. Yes. Let me try that.
Nice.
Yes. And then for Geminis, the last time we're going to talk about this energy is in their 3rd house of day-to-day living. So for them, it's not bad energy either. It's very empowering. They're trying to change their day-to-day routine, the schedule that they're on. They've been on it for almost 2 years, and they want to make some changes. They're trying a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and that's the right thing to do over the next 3 weeks or so. And then once Mercury goes direct, they'll be able to solidify it and be able to give their undivided attention to the new structure that they've created to work out of.
Okay.
So pretty much the energy itself isn't bad. It's what you do with that energy. And if you try and make something happen before it's time, the very definition of the retrograde is it's not going to work out the way you want. So if you use the energy and you have an understanding of, okay, for 3 weeks, this is going to be back and forth, and then I'll make my decision, it doesn't make you crazy, because that's the important thing. And you think God is going out of his way to give me a hard time. No, it's giving that hard time to everybody.
Right.
And you'll see it. You'll see anchors make mistakes. They'll put up the picture of one guy and they'll be talking about somebody else. And it's that kind of energy. I get the biggest kick out of it. I've learned not to take anything personally that happens during a Mercury retrograde and to slide as much shady stuff by as I can. Because you never know.
Nice.
So, and then we'll talk more next week about the eclipse coming up. So.